Action,
or was it
detective,
detective?
and
It was
flesh.
detective. Okay.
All three. This we got this week with we're still in the Booster Gold storyline on Krypton. One of the interesting things I thought about what actually basically happens is they end up going like 10 or 15 years past Booster Gold's time to a different planet. The time machine just takes them there, and they come to find out that it is a planet that is full of Kryptonians. Um, and they're under a yellow sun. Zod had actually completed, apparently, since they left Krypton. Zod and no mention of Jor-El yet, if Jor-El survived, but Zod used the space fleet to repopulate a planet under a yellow sun, so they would have Kryptonian power. And you find out that Zod had been scheming a lot for a while. He had his family, his son and his wife and his family were trapped in the Phantom Zone, and he managed to pull his family out of the Phantom Zone, and they took the space fleet and recreated Krypton on a new world. And Zod is like the ultimate leader. And so when Booster Gold and Superman get there, this basically a big like some sort of robot thing is there with this big statue of Zod, and says, "Greetings, welcome to whatever world this is. You are welcome here, and your presence is most welcome if you kneel before Zod." So when you get there, and Kal-El just won't do it. He's like, "Never, I'll never do that. Don't care what the story is. I'm not doing it." And Booster Gold's like, "Man, we really have to blend in here. We cannot be going around screwing up time." And this is another one of those hypocritical Superman moments where he just knows better than everybody and just fucks everything up. So they eventually get attacked by an Eradicator, and they think it's an Eradicator that followed him from the time before, from the Gotham from the last issue. But the Booster Gold's android robot analyzed it and said, "No, this Eradicator was created here on this planet within the last few months. So they have Eradicators here." So eventually it gets you find out that the real Eradicator is there, and that these droids are his Eradicator army, and they all work under Zod. And one of the most interesting things I found out about this, and I don't know if it's going to be an upcoming thing or if it's going to be wiped out of continuity, out of possible continuity, because they're going to have to travel back and fix all this somehow with Booster Gold and use the time machine. But right now they've had to go into the city in disguise, and like they're captured. They put Booster Gold's android companion inside the busted up Eradicator body that Superman busted up, and they're pulling a Star Wars, and they're acting like they're prisoners, and they have the fake Eradicator lead them into the city. But they all get found out because the real Eradicator shows up and says, "I've been following you since you got here, Kal-El," and you're like, you're fucked basically. So they get a big fight with the Eradicator, and he's got to distract the Eradicator while Booster Gold runs out to find parts for the time machine because it's crashed. But like I said, one of the interesting things I found out about in this issue is they make mention of the Earth Krypton War, and like it happened, and like Booster Gold, he's got that android robot that travels with him and talks to him. Fucking for life of me, I can't fucking remember what the thing's name is, but it tells him, says something about, "Oh, you're not aware of the Earth Krypton War." And Superman's like, what's the Earth Krypton War? He's like, "Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Forget I said anything about that. Like, it hasn't happened yet." So I'm wondering if there's going to be an event coming up that's going to be the Earth Krypton War at some point. That's made mention of. But so far, I think that wraps up with Booster Gold going to get the he goes to find the alloys to repair the time machine, and that's when we get Lorzod, the son of Zod, shows up and just clobbers Superman, and that's where it leaves off. So next issue, Superman's going to be fighting the son of Zod, Lorzod. So that was a pretty good issue. I love Action Comics when it's off planet and it's just weird Superman space shit, and so I really enjoyed that about it. I'm really liking Action. I heard Bendis is going to Action, so I'm wondering what he's going to do with it. I mean, if he does a good job with it, I mean, I think Superman and the Superman family is a good place for Bendis though, because it's kind of family friendly and it's kind of already progressive. There's not much he can really do to make it, more progressive than it already is. Because Superman's kind of a feel good character, so I don't think Bendis will do much harm over there. The other book that I read this week, that was pretty good, and then the other book is kind of wrapping up. Not quite wrapped up, but kind of wrapping up the Clayface situation over in Detective. Basically, the first victim, whatever, and then like this group has taken over Arkham, and they've supercharged Clayface so that he's out of control, and he's absorbed all of the leavings of. They've collected so many 1,000 gallons of Clayface's leavings over the years. Batman and Tim Drake had him like stored in a vat in the Belfry, and somehow Clayface gets access to that, so he's like 500 feet tall and he's just destroying Gotham. And so they've come up with this cure for Clayface to bring him back to his normal Basil self, and I think it's Orphan gets on his back and injects him with this thing in his brain that turns him back into human for a minute, but he's already starting. He's like, it's not going to be permanent. I'm already starting to change back. And then previously, Batwoman, her father, the military dude, who's Batwoman's father, gave her this weapon that was meant to neutralize Clayface. You could kill him with this because his body won't be able to reform. He won't be able to hold himself together, and he'll just die. And he gives it to her, and he says, look, if this thing gets out of hand, use this on him because we've been working on this. This will kill Clayface. And she's like, we don't want to kill him. He's part of our team. He's been manipulated and he's out of control and he can't help it. And he's like, well, maybe, take it back, let Tim Drake, somebody look at it, and maybe you can modify it so that it'll just stun him or something. But take it anyway. So Clayface busts out of control before they can do any of that modification or study it or anything. And so Batwoman is forced to, when he becomes his human form for a few minutes while Orphan's standing there, Orphan gets the call on the radio that says, Orphan, close your, she says, what is it, Cassandra? I don't know what her real name is. But it says, close your eyes. And she's like, close your eyes right now. And then the next panel is Batwoman's got that rifle aimed, and she just blows the fuck out of Clayface, just blows his brains out right there in the street, and that's where it ends. So I don't know if that's the end of Clayface permanently, but it sure seemed a hell of a lot permanent. So that was pretty good.
And interesting enough, they had mentioned Lady Clayface in Doomsday Clock.
Yes, they did, as a matter of fact, as a tie into that. They did mention Lady Clayface. And, Anarchy, the guy Anarchy that Spoiler was hanging around with, he actually revolted against this first victim, whatever this guy's name is in the red mask. He revolted because they had started this, and he's like, I joined your group to help the poor of Gotham, and all I hear is them screaming, running from Clayface. And he's like, this is a necessary sacrifice, you have to do this. So Anarchy revolts against that dude, and he goes back to find Spoiler and Tim Drake, who's been injured and is like strapped to a gurney. But pretty good. Remains to be seen. It's not quite over. Remains the initial damage that Clayface has done is over. They've stopped the rampage, but it remains to be seen what the aftermath of this is going to be. This could lead into why Tim Drake wants to kill Batwoman. Future Tim Drake that came back to kill Batwoman because of something that happened around this time. So this could be the catalyst for Tim Drake wanting to take out Batwoman. I'm not sure. Something to do with it, but it's pretty good. If you follow Detective, keep reading. It's pretty good. And also this month was it's actually in our files that we get from DC. It's labeled Flash number 39. This is actually they went back to the retro number for this, I believe, and this is actually the 700th issue of Flash this month. And we're starting out. I think this is going to be the War of the Speedsters or the War of the Flashes or whatever that was coming up. But Grodd comes back in this. Oh. And it goes back. This is a really good issue. I'd say after Doomsday Clock, this would have been my second pick of the week. Because, and the only reason is because Doomsday Clock's so big. That's kind of the only reason I'm going with that, because it's like the big event and a lot of shit was revealed in it. But this was really cool because this not only is the return of Grodd, this is also Barry Allen's complete confession to Iris West that he's the Flash. And she says, well, the only way we can ever work out is you have to show me. She says, I want to see him, and I want to see what he does. So Barry Allen becomes the Flash, and he starts running Iris around all over, showing her all the things that he does, telling her about how the costume works, telling her about how he gets the police band through the lightning bolts on the costume. He gets that, and tells him where all the crime is, and he can be there instantly, and tells her about Thawne, and tells her he keeps some stuff away because there's some stuff that her nephew Kid Flash didn't want her to know, so he keeps some of that, but he fairly well confesses to everything that he's been up to. And so Iris West now knows that Barry Allen is the Flash and knows all about what he does. Well, in the midst of all this, time starts slowing down. The Flash can still move, but Iris gets really slow and stops, and everybody freezes. And Barry Allen is speeding up, uncontrolled. He can't stop moving faster than everybody. He kind of speeds up out of time. And he looks, and someone on top of a building, a big skyscraper, is building a giant lightning rod up on this building. So he races up there, and he finds out that it is what's her name? I think Mina, the one that's got the negative Speed Force now. Mm-hmm. She's there with the Black Hole group, that syndicate super scientist, evil super scientist. She's there. And they've got this. They're speed forcing, like Multiplex got Speed Force now. They're speed forcing villains on top of this building. And he gets up there, and all of a sudden it says, it's like the Speed Force has always been mine, and you've stolen it from me, and I'm here to take it back. And then this big gorilla arm just comes out of this void and grabs Barry Allen, and it's Grodd. Grodd is back, and he's come to take the Speed Force. Because I should say at the beginning of the book, it says, throughout time, the Speed Force has existed here, and it's always had its rightful owner. And men have repeatedly stolen it over the centuries, and now its rightful owner has come back to take it. And you don't know who that is till the big reveal at the end. Spoiler, it's Grodd. Grodd has come back to take the Speed Force from Barry Allen. So next issue, Big Grodd, Barry Allen, Multiplex, Negative Speed Force, Kid Flash, War of the Flashes, basically. It's going to be a big melee of speedsters, and I'm hoping they let Godspeed out of Iron Heights, because I'd like to see that too.
Fantastic. That's your DC Comics for the week. Once again, the Renegade pick of the week will be Doomsday Clock number 3. Make sure you head out today if you're listening to it on Wednesday, or whenever you listen to it, head out to your local comic book store. Show them some love. Pick up some books. No, it doesn't matter who it's from. Find something that you
pay up your subs. Pay up your subs, everybody.
Yeah. Pick up your subs. I got to do that myself. I usually let them sit for a bit, and then I go pick them all up at once.
But I always get them.
Always get them. Always get them. So, thank you so much. We'll see you next week with John Constantine. So, Chief, I'm a penguin. I'm better than the Ugandan Knuckles. Oh,
savage penguin.
Savage penguin.
Good night, everybody.
Renegades.